Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. The story of the missing Cold Lake teenager swept away by the Beaver River has come to a tragic end. 17-year-old Aaron Thur was out fishing with his brother on Saturday when he lost his footing. Last night, the family shared on the Finding Aaron, now changed to In Memory of Aaron Facebook group, that local search and rescue teams and the RCMP recovered his body. The family is asking for privacy at this time, but is thanking everyone for helping with the search. A GoFundMe has been set up to help cover the cost of the memorial. One more person who tested positive for COVID-19 in Saskatchewan has died. It was a person in the 70 to 79 age group in the Central East Zone. There are 77 new cases in Saskatchewan, including 8 in the Northwest, with only 1 in the immediate Lloydminster area. 101 people are in hospital, with 12 in the Northwest. There are 902 active cases province-wide, with 112 in the Northwest and 35 in the immediate Lloydminster area. The Northwest continues to have the third highest number of active cases in the province, behind only Saskatoon and Regina. More than 845,000 doses of the vaccine have been administered in Saskatchewan, with just over 53,000 in the Northwest. More than 10,000 people are fully vaccinated in our zone. The Lloydminster Public School Division is getting plans in place for the expansion of the Lloydminster Comprehensive High School. Now, Synergy Credit Union has announced they're partnering with LPSD and providing $500,000 to the school.
I think this is a really great example of what happens when schools and community members come together and work together to do something that's really cool and awesome for kids.
Originally, the facility was only set to be a gymnasium that would be complete with the rest of the renovations by September 2023. But with Synergy Credit Union's $500,000 contribution over the next 10 years, it will be so much more.
Allowed us to extend that facility and move from a gymnasium type structure to a true community field house. We're really excited about that because one of our core values is about engaging community and adding value to the city that so nicely serves and supports our school division.
Synergy has been contributing to many community projects over the years with their Synergy Shares program. One focus of the program is youth education. Now they'll be able to help another project that will benefit students for years to come.
We're trying to engage our youth in many ways, and the fact that this will be used by the entire school division as well as other youth groups along the way, we think it's a perfect fit. It's something that's still needed in this community, and again, we're very proud to support it.
Last spring, Synergy provided the Lloydminster Public School Division with sporting equipment as well as supporting a few of their physical and mental health initiatives. For the principal of LCHS, he's happy to see the engagement from Synergy with the school.
We're just very grateful to have the support of Synergy once again. They're such a pillar in this community to provide opportunity for community members and students in LPSD. So really looking forward to actualizing this project.
With the help Synergy's provided for the field house and with the expansion and renovation of LCHS, it will have a huge effect on students' day-to-day life across the division.
We're going to be able to create an environment that's really more of a collegiate that is aligned with the curriculum expectations in Saskatchewan. This will mean that our middle year schools and our elementary schools are also reconfigured to align with the way curriculum is outlined in the province.
Construction is scheduled to begin in December 2021. Lloydminster was set to host the Saskatchewan Summer Games in 2020. The pandemic forced the games to be postponed and eventually canceled. Now the city is looking to host the games in 2024, with the city submitting a letter of intent. Jace Mackey explains.
Hundreds of athletes and visitors were supposed to flock to the border city in the summer of 2020 for the Saskatchewan Summer Games. The games were postponed to 2021 at the onset of the pandemic before being outright cancelled at the end of 2020 due to uncertainty surrounding COVID restrictions. The Saskatchewan Games Council gave the city of Lloydminster the chance to host the 2024 games before a public bidding process.
So we just felt it was fair that for 2024 we offer Lloydminster the opportunity to host these games without going out to the rest of the communities and having a competitive bid process. And, I think that's a really good decision.
With almost half of the 2020 board members expressing interest in sitting on the board for the 2024 games and 2 locals stepping up to co-chair, city administration feels the city is in a good position to host, and city council agreed and directed administration to submit a letter of intent to host the games in 2024.
I'm excited, really excited to think about putting 2024 out there, what the city can showcase, what our athletes, local volunteers and committee can provide, and showcase to Saskatchewan how great Lloydminster is.
The city had already spent money on capital projects related to the games, and after the cancellation of the 2020 games, funds were redistributed among partners, leaving the Lloydminster Summer Games Society with close to $400,000 to be put towards future games. Lloydminster Mayor Gerald Abers believes the 2024 games will have a huge economic impact for Lloydminster.
The economic spin-offs are huge. If we, again, well, after COVID, post-COVID, we'll see parents, grandparents, coaches, friends coming to support their team members and spending time in our city, enjoying our amenities, seeing what we have to offer, and getting off 16 Highway.
The next Saskatchewan Games taking place are the 2022 Saskatchewan Winter Games being hosted in Regina from February 20th to 26th of 2022. For Primetime Local News, I'm Jace Mackey.
With the city of Lloydminster celebrating Seniors Week, there is always an issue that is still a major topic: elder abuse, and the community is raising awareness. Connor Chan has more.
This year will mark the second annual Elder Abuse Awareness Walk. Last year it was postponed due to COVID, but the Lloydminster Elder Abuse Protection Committee and the city are hopeful that the walk alerts others about the negligible actions taking place in our community.
We surveyed medical professionals, financial professionals, and senior groups to actually see what kind of effects elder abuse has on the Lloydminster community. And we did get a lot of feedback that it is prevalent and there needs to be awareness about it.
According to LEAP, 750,000 seniors in Canada experience elder abuse in some way.
I think the most prevalent thing that people think about when they think about senior abuse is frauds and financial, which of course is there, and there needs to be some education around that. People, elders need to know how to protect themselves.
It's really interesting when you hear stories, and they're personal stories from people within the community. When we just talk about this, from young people that say, I know someone that this happened to, it happened in my family, just numerous examples. And we just want to help bring awareness to that.
The Elder Abuse Self-Guided Awareness Walk takes place June 11th to 18th. More information on the walks can be found on the City of Lloydminster's website. If you know someone who is experiencing elder abuse, they can call the Lloydminster Interval Home Society Crisis Line or call 911 for immediate action. Connor Chan, Primetime Local News.
Now our Connor Chan will take a first look at your evening forecast.
All right, thanks very much, Justin. Taking a first look at the evening forecast, we are seeing some showers starting to pour down. We are going to see that for the next couple of hours, as this will be the last day we see a good amount of rain for at least the next couple of days, and we'll show in the 7-day forecast when we are expected to get some more showers. But 15 degrees is what we're sitting at right now, with the winds very, very mild, very little to no wind right now. It's mostly the rain that we're going to see. Of course, we did see that all throughout the day today. Looking at some other areas, pretty cool, kind of gloomy day with those darker clouds emerging in our area. But we look at Vermilion, 13 degrees, as well as in St. Paul, 15 in Bonnyville and Cold Lake. In Lac La Biche, 12 degrees out in Vegreville. Going into North Battleford, 16 degrees, 17 in Macleod, with 16s also in Meadow Lake and St. Walburg, and Green Lake sitting at 18, a little bit warmer. But here's a look at the satellite radar map just to give a little look at what we are going to be seeing. So looking at all that, lots of heavy rain going to make its way through. This from a little earlier, around an hour-ish ago, but still this is kind of what we are projecting right now. Lots of heavy rain making its way through that Lloydminster area, going upwards there. So areas like the Bonnyville, Cold Lake are going to see some showers, as well as there's lots of activity going on in those Edmonton, Leduc areas right now, and parts of central Alberta as well. So the rain's not going to be stopping anytime soon is basically what I'm getting at here. So looking at overnight tonight, 12 degrees for North Battleford, with those same showers continuing on into tomorrow with that high of 17 degrees. Overnight in Cold Lake, 11 degrees with a little bit of rain overnight as well, going into 18 degrees tomorrow, where the rain will stop, and seeing a daytime high there of that 18 with mostly sun and a few clouds. And then for us here in Lloydminster, the rain will stop going going into tomorrow, but we will see a high of 18 degrees. So we're going to be a little bit warmer, and we're actually going to see a little bit more sunshine tomorrow, and we will see that more so into the weekend as well. Going into Saturday, a lot of warm temperatures are starting to come back here as we look into Saturday. 22 degrees as the daytime high, but we'll still see a little bit of cloud coverage hovering over us for a while here. And then going into Sunday, 25 degrees with that daytime high there and a low of 7. So it'll be cooler in the mornings though for the weekend here, as we are going to be a little bit around averages there, and then which will translate into temperatures above season average. That's a look at your weather forecast for now. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
Monday, Lakeland College announced the addition of a women's hockey program. Evan Kenny has more with the Lakeland College athletic director.
Earlier this week, we spoke with newly announced head coach for the Lakeland women's hockey team, Morgan Mann. Now we're talking to Lakeland College athletic director, Al Rogan. Al, thank you for taking this time. Now, Al, obviously, we are talking about the Lakeland College women's hockey team announced earlier this week. Just take us through the process from your point of view here.
Yeah, it's been a long process, but it's been a good process. This is going to be a unique experience for us here at Lakeland, where we're really, when we talk about partnering with another group, this is truly a partnership where we're going to be working collaboratively with not just the community of Lloydminster and surrounding area, but also with the city of Lloydminster to put this program together. So, a lot of conversations around how that was going to look, and that's what's taken a lot of the time. It's one of those programs where we're not able to fund this program at Lakeland College our own right now. So there's parts that we talked about that we could supply, especially on the administration side, and because we want to see another program as part of our restaurant offerings as well. And we've always said that women's hockey would probably be that next league program that we were going to be able to offer. So we were able to say this is what we could offer. Speaking with the community group, they said, yeah, we're pretty sure we can bring this to the table and be able to, support the program in this manner. And then working with the city was able to say, yeah, we can support the program in this manner. So it really is a team effort, I guess, to use a sport cliche. Of many groups getting together to be able to offer an incredible experience to a bunch of young ladies who are going to be able to play women's hockey in the Lloydminster community and at Lakeland College.
And Al, previously you had said this was the most logical next team or next program for Lakeland College. Now, what made this make so much sense?
For us, we try to look in our community. We want to make sure that we're supporting our community that we live in with what we offer. Right now, we look at the community of Lloydminster and surrounding area. There's the opportunity for young women to compete up to the midget level in women's hockey, but realistically in our area, there isn't an opportunity, especially at the post-secondary level, that higher level, where gals can take it on past basically that high school part. So a lot of the young ladies in our community have had to leave our community to go and compete in Edmonton or down in the States. So, we thought if we can offer an opportunity here in our community to allow local gals to take that next step and to compete at the post-secondary level, that would be a program that made sense. And we're working with our community, supply this opportunity, and we're not working against our community. So that's a very important piece that we need to work collectively to make sure what we're doing here at the college also fits inside of our community as well. We're just not a massive community, so we need to make sure that we're all working together on this.
And finally, Al, just talking about the team funding, and it will be a unique model. Can you just touch on that a little more for us?
Yeah, so the funding, the majority of the operational dollars that we're going to need to run the program is going to be fundraised, basically. We're going to be looking at different sources. There's a community cabinet that's been set up to look at fundraising the dollars for the program. We'll be looking at different ways to bring that revenue in, whether it's through grants or whether it's through sponsorships or donations. That's what the fundraising cabinet has basically committed to, saying that we're going to be able to bring to the table here to basically fund the program. So, they put together a pretty solid proposal that we're pretty excited with. And, once again, from an administrative perspective, we're going to be helping out with that from the college side of things. But, the program is going to, like the majority of the funds for the program are going to be basically generated through fundraising.
Well, Al, thank you for taking this time and joining me. It should be an exciting future for Lakeland College.
Now our Connor Chan will take a second look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks very much there, Jasmine. Yes, the showers are still gonna make its way between now as well as probably later into the evening, into the overnights tonight, but we are still expecting a little bit of rain, but it should clear up by tomorrow as we are gonna see a little bit of a break with some sun in the forecast, on which we did not get today. Take a look, still sitting at 15 degrees right now, 16 degrees all the way out there in Edmonton and Edson, 12 degrees for Red Deer, Athabasca at 11 degrees, 18 out in Whitecourt, so it's still pretty cool with those temperatures and lots of overcast in some areas in Alberta, 16 in North Battleford and Meadow Lake as well, with 21 in Saskatoon and then 20 degrees in Prince Albert. Looking over to northern Saskatchewan right now, 15 degrees in the Lasha Buffalo Narrows, continuing that trend of some mild temperatures. We are still seeing a little bit of those showers that could make its way from going north, from after it's kind of done with us here in the Lloydminster area. So lots of northern areas are going to possibly see some rain overnight tonight and into the evening. 18 degrees in Wollaston Lake with 10 in Uranium City and 11 in Stony Rapids. Going over to northern Alberta, 19 degrees in Peace River and High Level with 17 in Fort McMurray and 18 degrees in Grand Prairie and Slave Lake, sitting at 16 degrees. Looking at southern Alberta, also seeing some of those showers as well. We see 12 degrees right now, though, for Lethbridge with 15 in Medicine Hat and lots of other 12s in Coronation and Banff as well. Calgary sitting at 11 currently right now. Southern Saskatchewan could be hit pretty hard in the next couple of days or so, with lots of chance of some thunderstorms as well as lots of heavy rain. So also areas like Saskatoon as well could be succumb to that as well. So 24 degrees right now in Moose Jaw, 25 in Regina, 19 degrees in Yorkton, and then 25 all the way out in Estevan. Looking across the country here as we take a look at our temperatures, 20 degrees in Winnipeg, lots of cloud coverage throughout the day in some parts here, with 24 in Toronto, 17 in Quebec City, 0 degrees in St. John's, seeing some flurries there right now with 10 degrees in Halifax. Looking up to Vancouver, sitting at 22 degrees right now with mostly sun and a few clouds. Edmonton, of course, seeing some cloud coverage and some rain as well, with 14 up at Yellowknife and 20 degrees in Whitehorse. Going over to what we could see for tomorrow, we are going to see that little mix of sun and cloud tomorrow. So we are going to see the sun, as I mentioned there, for probably the first time in a while here, as we did not see it all day today. So 18 degrees in Lloydminster, Maidstone, Marwayne as well, Bonnyville and Cold Lake seeing that number as well. 19 degrees in Vermilion and Vegreville, 20 out in Edmonton and Wainwright for tomorrow, and 17 degrees in North Battleford. We'll see some 19s also in the Macklin area, and also still pretty mild up in northern Saskatchewan with temperatures in that 15 to 16 degree range. Now here's a look at the next 7 days as we get ready for an increase in heat for the next couple of days. So starting on Saturday, we'll be back to the 20 degree range with a high at 22, 25 degrees on Sunday. Going into Monday, 27, as we are going to start to see a lot more sun in the forecast. And then as we get into Tuesday, we'll see our first 30 degree temperature in a little while here, I guess, because it's been a long time since we had that 34 degree day. It always seems like forever with all this overcast and rain that we got over the last little bit here. And we will see more of that rain as well going into Wednesday, Thursday next week. So 23 on Wednesday and then 22 degrees on Thursday. That's a look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
I'm pleased to be joined on Primetime Local News today with an author, and we're going to be talking about an amazing book today. Bruce Olive Solheim is here with us today. Bruce, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, Stacy.
Well, we want to get into this right away because when I saw the title of this book and read what it's about, it's very, very interesting. So tell me about the book, and I guess we'll start with how it came to be, because it's just such an interesting story.
Well, yeah, thank you. Well, let's see. The book is about an ancient alien mystic whom I have been in pretty constant contact with for the last 3 years. And I'm a professor of history, regular academic. And in 2016, I had a vision experience with a friend of mine who had just passed away. And he told me that it was time, so he was speaking to me from beyond the grave, right? And he told me that it was time for me to tell all of my stories. And I've led a paranormal life since I was 4 years old, everything from ghosts to angels and, telekinesis, telepathy, you name it. And also alien contact. So I decided to start writing books. I wrote 3 books, Timeless Deja Vu, Timeless Trinity. And then this is a separate book. It's the 4th book, but it focuses just on this particular entity. And like I said, he's an ancient alien mystic. So the book is, half of it is my research into how the spirit world, the alien world, and the quantum world are all the same thing. And I did a lot of research. There's a lot of footnotes in there. And the second half of the book is the actual transcripts of my conversations with Anzar. And what happens is I take these spirit walks and I communicate with him, and I record everything that I'm hearing and what I'm saying. And then I transcribe it. So I was working off of like 300 pages of notes that I put in the second half of the book. And it's pretty fascinating stuff. Most of the best stuff in the book is what he told me, not what I say, but what he says.
Now, we don't want to give too much away, Bruce, because we want people to actually check out the book for themselves. But what are the types of things when you have these conversations with Anzar that he tells you? Is it specifically related to you? Is it global? Is it for the future, for people in general? Or what are some of the things that are discussed when you make contact?
Yeah, it's a little bit of all of what you said. He often gives me preparations. He says there's certain things that are going to be happening. You need to be prepared. I tend to call them predictions, but he's always very cautious, and he says predictions can be wrong, but preparations are never wrong. So because there's too many variables. But he has told me, I can just share a couple of things. A year before COVID hit, he told me that there was going to be a series of calamities that would impact not just the Americas, but the whole world, which it has. And he said that millions of people would die. And he said it was tragic, it was horrible. And so that I was as prepared as I could be, my wife and I. And then, for instance, in September of last year, he told me that there would be what he called a pocket revolution here in the United States. And he also used the word insurrection, which of course on January 6th, we had the attack on the Capitol. So he does give me this information kind of ahead of time and gives me preparation. But it's not only that, it's how to prepare for what he calls a leap of consciousness, which everybody knows all this UFO stuff is very hot right now. And here in the US, the Congress is getting a report from the intelligence agencies and the Department of Defense, and it's due the 25th of June. And he's been telling me all along what's going on. And the thing is that he wants us to know that it's you can't just sit around and wait for the government to tell you what's true and what's not true. You have to figure it out yourself, what he calls a leap of consciousness. And not a disclosure, but a revelation, an individual revelation. So he's been preparing me for the last 3 years, and I don't consider myself special. I'm just a regular professor, guy, academic person. But I've been given this unique opportunity to share this. And I understand, I always like to talk about skepticism because I'm skeptical myself sometimes, to pinch myself and everything. So skepticism is good. And that's how I start off the book. Like if you were to tell me 10 years ago, if you were to tell me, oh, I speak to an ancient alien mystic, I'd probably be very polite and, okay, that's great, and then try to make a quick exit. But I know it's hard for people sometimes to accept, but we have to know that we are living in very unique times. Very, there's a paradigm shift going on of consciousness.
Bruce, why you? Do you have any idea why you were chosen to speak with Anzar and to get these messages? As I guess with all the people in the world, right?
Yeah.
How was it that you were chosen?
Well, I think he's been with me my whole life. And I've had a very paranormal life. My mom was very psychic. I've had a lot of things happen to me, but I was afraid to share them. I was afraid I'd lose my job. Before I was a academic, I was in the military. I worked at Boeing as a defense contractor. So those are not places where you can share this kind of information. So it took a lot for me to start sharing it, and much less talking about Anzar. So I think that I'm kind of a lightning rod for the paranormal. And some people just are. They just, for whatever reason, I think it's both a blessing and a curse in a way. Until I learned how to manage it, it could be very disturbing, to walk into a party and hear what people are thinking, and their intentions. And so it made me where I didn't want to go to parties, but now I've learned to kind of tune it out when I need to and tune it in when I want to.
Well, Bruce, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. This is so interesting. Once again, for our viewers, can you tell them the title of the book and where they can find not just the book, but the rest of your work as well?
Oh, sure. Thank you, Stacy. The book is called Anzar the Progenitor, which is the first contact. And it's available on Amazon, and all of my work, all of my books, the other timeless books I mentioned, are available or are mentioned in my website, bruceolavsolheim.com. And my middle name spelled O-L-A-V, last name spelled S-O-L-H-E-I-M.
Well, Bruce, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today, and we look forward to chatting with you again in the future.
Thank you, Stacy.
Joining me today is writing duo Olivia Wiley and E.S. Argentum, known as the author O.E. Tierman, with the relaunch of the book The Hands Were Given through Amphibian Press. Thank you both so much for joining us today. Now, why has this been relaunched?
The short answer is we got picked up by a publisher. The series initially was self-published in 2018, and we were lucky enough to be picked up by Amphibian Press and are seizing the opportunity to redo everything and make it even better for an audience.
Of course, some people may have read some of the other books of the Aces High Jokers Wild series, but for people unaware, what's all involved in this series?
Book one starts in 2155. In this time period, the American government gridlocked into failure, and 7 corporations rose to control the country. The day you're born, your parents sign a corporate contract to sign you up for work for life for whichever corporation paid for your being born. But there are people fighting to bring representative democracy back. And our series revolves around the wild cards, one unit in the force fighting to bring democracy back to America.
With so much support from fans for previous work, do you both expect to get that same reaction for the relaunches of the series?
I think the big thing is we're hoping to reach more people.
Yeah.
Because self-publishing really limits the scope of who you can reach and how. And being with a press now gives us so many more opportunities to reach people who might need this book. I say need this book in this series because, as Liv said earlier, we deal with a lot of equity, diversity, mental health issues. And one of the things that's kind of underlying the series, besides it just being a fun dystopian story, is creating community and found family and learning to support each other and remembering that there is hope and bringing that into a new world. And so I feel like that's a message that a lot of people can use right now. And having the opportunity to potentially reach more of those people who can find that hope through our work is just so humbling right now.
Yeah, same here. Giving people the resolve to get through hard times, because our series is essentially saying, all right, I see your broken world and I raise you the resolve and the scrappiness to keep fighting to make it better. And that's really our focus, and we hope to pass that on to readers, as well as getting them connected if they need resources, with a lot of resources that you might not find if you just type "help me" into Google.
Now, would both of you be able to tell us some history about how you both decided to come together under the O.E. Tierman pen name?
We actually met through an Irish language club about a decade ago now, that Olivia had organized. And around 2016, we were both going through some really difficult personal times, in addition to watching our country crumble before our eyes. And so we kind of looked at each other and said, okay, what can we do? And I've always been a writer. I've been writing since I was 12. And pulling Olivia into this world and saying, hey, I have this idea for this society. Do you want to help me build it and help me create and find something not as bleak that we can do with it? And it started off just kind of us playing in this world, writing back and forth. And then Olivia looked at me eventually and said, we need to put this in the world because it can help people. And basically twisted my arm until I said, yeah, okay, let's publish it.
We wrote the 8 books in one long, several years worth of creative dashing. And yeah, at the end of that, I started saying, you know, this is really good. You know, we could get this to people, especially since our circles of friends had started getting very down as 2016 rolled on, as it got darker. And a lot of our friends are people of color and LGBT folks. And so everyone was just feeling really depressed. And we were hearing a lot of, we're just screwed, we're just screwed. And so essentially this series is our answer. This series is saying, okay, fine, let's posit we're screwed, and then let's write our way out of it. Let's take the darkest version of America we can imagine and write our way into the light again to prove that it can be done, even if we go down to the darkest place. So yeah, it helped us both get through a lot of mental health challenges to write together.
And I think it's amazing to hear that even through rough times, you both were able to come together and be able to create this great series for readers to enjoy. Is there anything else you'd like to add about the relaunch?
It's a found family of freaks and geeks and geniuses. They pull pranks on each other. They're goofing around most of the time. There's a reason they're called the wild cards. There's a lot of, who put shaving cream in my shoe? So you're not going to get a lecture when you read these books. You're going to get a found family who are fighting for something good and taking care of each other, and also giving each other crap sometimes, just like a good family does. And you're going to laugh. Sometimes you might cry, but you're going to get a laugh out of this.
For people interested, where can they access the relaunch of the book?
It's currently available pretty much anywhere books are sold. We've got hard copies, ebooks, and an audiobook. Our website is oetierman.com, TEARMANN. And we're also on Twitter and Facebook, and we have a newsletter where you can get previews of things and sign up for new releases and all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, and if you sign up for the newsletter, we send out free short stories on there as well.
Perfect. Well, once again, thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Thank you for joining us on Primetime Local News. Have a great rest of your night.